Hello everyone, this is ToadinWonderland. Welcome back to more of Let's Play Japanese Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time. Today I'm going to be doing this in post commentary. You'll find out here soon enough, but coming up there's just a few things that I do quick before getting on to the main attraction. The first thing I do get here is double magic, and then later on I'll be showing me acquiring some additional gold sculptulas and an arrow upgrade capacity. And in case you guys forgot, I do show here the Master Sword does gain the properties of the Megaton Hammer when you do the crouch stab. It also resets the value back to 1, if I'm not mistaken. Although the Master Sword might be 2, now that I think about it. I can't remember exactly what the Megaton Hammer is. I think it is equivalent to the Master Sword. I could be wrong about that. Excuse me, I had a weird reflux in my throat there. Already to a wonderful start. Anyway, yeah, as I said, this is just going to be a bit of a montage. It'll be skipping through a few different areas. Like I said, of me just gathering stuff that I acquire throughout my wonderful adventures in the land of Hyrule, while doing it in Japanese. So my next Let's Play has already been started, and if I'm not mistaken, by the time this video goes up, it should already be unveiled. Sonic Adventure DX is the game, so I don't think there will be any harm in me admitting that, because, as I said, it should already be up. I actually did have a bit of a self-debate with what I was going to do for the next Let's Play. I strongly considered doing Metal Gear Solid: The Twin Snakes for the GameCube. If I was to do that game, it would be blind. The only known connection I have with that game is I'm aware it's a graphical remake of the original Metal Gear Solid for the PlayStation. But it was a very long time ago that I played any of that game. And from what I remember, I did complete all the training missions on the PS1 version. And I played maybe, I want to say almost an hour of the main campaign, but I don't remember making it very far. I think I got caught a lot and ended up getting a lot of game overs, but nonetheless, it still wasn't substantial enough for me to be potentially spoiled by the main campaign. However, it's a good excuse for me to do a playthrough of it, because I actually have played other games of the series, especially Metal Gear Solid 2 Sons of Liberty, which I absolutely love to death. That is a really good Metal Gear Solid game. Even though you mainly play as Raiden through most of the story campaign at the Big Shell facility, as well as Arsenal Gear at the end. But, you know, there wasn't as much with Snake, because he was only on the submarine in the beginning, like, prologue of the game. But it was still really well developed, in my opinion. I love the stealth aspect of it. I kind of have that. That's why I like the Batman games as well, like Arkham Asylum and Arkham City, because I love the stealth over, like, just shooting. Like, if it's just pure shooting, it's kind of a turn-off for me. That's why I don't really care for series like Call of Duty and Battlefield that much. Now, not to fully discourage them, but I have played them before, but I just not captured the same way I am to games like Metal Gear Solid. It has to do with the gameplay, I think, more than anything. And not to mention, no one plays like Call of Duty or any game like that for the single story campaign. It's almost always multiplayer is the reason with why someone would buy those games, because that's their main appeal. Oh, I did forget, here I got the Prelude of Light. I happened to just be near the ruined Harrow Castle Town Market. Figured I'd go ahead and get the song while I was there, since I did not get it after clearing the Forest Temple. But anyway, yeah, that's my main spiel that I just wanted to say. I strongly did consider doing Metal Gear Solid, the Twin Snakes, but at the same time, something I'm not entirely sure about. I mean, it is my channel and everything, but I'm not sure how some of my viewers would have taken seeing me do a Metal Gear Solid game. I could be completely wrong, but from what I gather, some people aren't really attracted to, like, mature games. that are on my channel, like the current subscribers I have. At the same time, I have to keep in mind I could potentially get more subscribers. So, it's something I will never know entirely. And real quick, I do this dreaded section of the game, the big Poe collecting. On a normal playthrough, I completely just skip doing this altogether, period. But I figured, you know, this is a unique playthrough of the Japanese version. I figured, why not? Let's just go ahead and get them all. I got the first one, and then this one right here is my second one, where I'm like at the entrance to Kakariko Village. This one is awful to get. You have to have really good timing to get this big Poe, because it vanishes in like 3 seconds after appearing, and it is really difficult to get immediately. The one here at Hyrule Castle, the entrance anyway, is probably one of the easiest because it just appears immediately, and it doesn't really have much space for like trying to escape from you. Something I noticed with the big Poes is that as soon as they collide with like a wall or get a certain distance away from you, they will disappear. And you can lure them to go a certain way, depending on how you approach the loading spot where they appear at. So like this one, for example, is easiest to approach if you do it like away from the ranch, so that you have enough time to at least be able to shoot it before it hits the walls and disappears. I do demonstrate this with this Poe. Here you'll see it immediately touches a wall and vanishes. But I am able to turn around and make it so that it gets lured to move in a different direction, and it gives me more time to be able to shoot it and acquire it by catching it in a bottle. Now I did have 3 bottles altogether, but I only kept 2 of them empty, so every 2 that I collected I took back to the Poe collector, and then just came back out to the field. Now you do go through a lot of arrows when you gather all 10 of these big Poes. Even just like 1 can really dwindle your arrow supply, because you might miss the first time, so you have to turn around and come back and approach it again. And it essentially, you might miss it so many times, you just blow through a lot of arrows. The best way to reacquire more is to either roll into the trees, like here. They usually do drop arrows if you do roll into them. Sometimes it's magic, sometimes it's bombs, but you will usually get arrows from them nonetheless. And there's also patches of grass scattered across Hyrule Field, which almost always contain arrows as well. So those are 2 great ways to restock if your arrow supply does run low. And Navi does get a bit annoying on a few occasions. And here I took a break from Poe hunting because I remembered that this spot had a gold Skulltula, so I did show it in between the Poe collecting. Oh, and one other thing with the big Poes is that you have to be riding the horse for them to appear. Otherwise, it'll just be a regular Poe enemy that doesn't disappear if you Z-target. They usually vanish if you Z-target them, but the ones that appear in Hyrule Field don't seem to have this trait. And even Navi gives them a different enemy description, saying that Z-targeting does not make them disappear. And they just kind of circle around you, rather than kind of like act on their own accord, like the ones at the graveyard do. But again, that's just something to keep in mind. Make sure you're riding Epona so that the big Poe will appear. And you generally just want to go in the spots like where I went. A couple of them are annoying because of the way that they appear. So, like, if you try to mimic the same exact movement that I did with Epona, you should have enough reaction time to be able to shoot them before they vanish. So that was it for the Gold Skulltula. I do resume the big Poes, and here's a good example of what I was just talking about. This big Poe seems to only have a good opportunity if you approach it exactly like I did right there. You want to nudge the wall and then turn sharply so that you're facing the path. That way the big Poe will actually go along the path and not hit the wall and instantly vanish. Depending on how you lure it, the big Poe hunting can be easy or difficult. Again, on a normal playthrough, it's all for an empty bottle. That is your reward, so I usually end up just skipping it. However, it does have a huge benefit for having more than 3 bottles when you go to the next main area of the game, which is the Ice Caverns. because you will be collecting blue fire there. And the more empty bottles you have, the easier it gets. 3 is substantial. You can even do it with just 1, but it does get increasingly difficult the fewer bottles you have, because it's basically the more you have, the less backtracking you're forced into. That's the basic thing that I can say about it. But you're not required to have more than 1. The game forces you to get 1 through the Princess Ruto letter, unless you glitch getting into Jabu Jabu's belly, which I failed to do, but is possible, without the use of a fish. So that is an option as well, but nonetheless, if you do the game the normal way, it does require an empty bottle, essentially. That's basically what I'm saying. And here I went back to the Poe Collector. I'm not sure what he meant by 50. I think he gives actually 50 rupees, but I really couldn't tell because I was maxed out on money. So I think the 50 that he meant in his text was every time I gave him a big Poe, he gives you 50 rupees as a reward, in addition to 100 points on your card. And after you get all 10 big Poes, he gives you the empty bottle. And this is a scene I actually record a little bit after my main recording. But basically what I did there was, as you can even see, my hearts are even different in quantity. That's proof that this clip was arranged back a little bit in time. Basically why I put it there, though, was because there's a glitch I will be doing. It might not be this video, but it'll be at some point, and it's going to involve the trade quest. So that was essentially the start of it. But you have to have something in the adult event item slot, which is basically the pocket cuckoo egg, which is what I got. It can actually be any item, it just can't be an empty spot in order for the glitch to properly work. And now we'll explain a little more about it once I get to it. The glitch involves King Zora. Again, that'll be much later on after we complete the Ice Cavern. But I thought I'd go ahead and state that for the record. And the reason I put the clip there was because it made more sense to show it before going to Zora's River. And unfortunately, I did realize after I got to the Ice Cavern that I forgot to get the first quest item, which is why I had to record a clip of me getting it before actually doing the Ice Cavern. And the reason the hearts are different is because there is a heart piece I do get here pretty soon, which increases my total slightly. And I'm not sure exactly why I took that route, like the way I walked the path there. I might have fallen. I actually wasn't paying attention, and it's a terrible excuse, but I didn't catch if I fell off or if that was just a personal choice for whatever reason. It's easiest to just jump across to the right so that you can get up to the platform a lot quicker, so that you can play Zelda's Lullaby. I'm fairly positive that you can get in there without slowing down the water. Well, obviously, if you took like Lake Hylia's route, where you go into the shortcut entrance that warps you to Zora's domain, that is one way. Oh, and real quick, in addition to Metal Gear Solid, this is just back to my story about which game I was going to Let's Play next. And sorry, I think I bumped the mic there. I apologize if there was a loud thud there. In addition to Metal Gear Solid, the Twin Snakes, though, the other games I was considering was possibly another RPG. Oh, and real quick, this is what I had mentioned before, I think last time I was at Zora's Domain. You can jump slash through the wall, but it's pretty pointless because you fall into an empty, endless abyss. So, the game just spits you back out to where you were. Pretty pointless, but for some reason it exists. But I figured I'd just go ahead and show that. Anyway, in addition to Metal Gear Solid, I had also considered doing maybe another RPG game. Kind of like Pokemon, but something in a different direction. But I just wasn't sure what to pick. And at the same time, from what I gathered, I do know there is a few viewers of mine who do not like RPGs. I mean, we all have our personal choices as far as what we like and what we don't like. But I've talked to a few of my viewers, and they have expressed that they are not a big fan of RPGs. Not all of them, but some of them. But all I have to say is that you guys are actually a bunch of pansies. Seriously, I love RPGs. I mean, it's been here the past few years that I've actually really gained a love for some of the series that I do like now today. But, and I don't know why I didn't keep trying to climb up onto the iceberg. You can do that. But sometimes it fails depending on the elevation. It's a bit finicky, but you can climb onto them regardless. They just have to be at a good angle to be able to grab the ledge. But anyway, yeah, I kind of decide not to go with an RPG. Not to mention that they're usually long, and Let's Playing them does take a lot of work and time. It is definitely a lot of time, though, more than anything else. And here I got the heart piece that gave me another heart container. So yeah, and this was the point where I realized, it actually wasn't right here, but it was like as soon as I got to the entrance, I was like, oh crap, I totally forgot to get the quest item for the side quest with the trade. So I ended up having to record a separate clip for that. But anyway, I think that was all I had to say, really, as far as stories and random babbling goes. I am playing Tales of the Abyss for the 3DS, so speaking of RPGs, again, I'm sure some people are completely uninterested in hearing something like that, but I've been itching to get back to that. I might have to play that after recording this. I've been into that game lately, because I never played Tales of the Abyss for the original PS2. Oh, and here's Link sneezes if you like stand around enough in the cavern. I do use Ferrari's Wind. It's not a huge shortcut to use it here, but it's still a good win nonetheless. Any little bit of time you can save always helps. I just like to get back to the entrance as soon as I'm done here. Because this is actually not a main dungeon. It is a mini dungeon, and its only use is that it has an item that you're after. And a song. Because Sheik does come here after you have taken care of all the main tasks. The ice enemies are pretty unique, so I'm kind of glad that this place like had an appeal as far as giving a few new enemies and, you know, a whole ice/snow theme. I get butchered by this spike trap. Actually, I get butchered by a few different things in this dungeon, to be honest. There are a couple glitches here. There's a few that I tried that did not work. Like, I even tried off-screen. I'll be making a cut here at some point, actually. Because in this room, you can actually do, like, a clipping glitch so that you can clip through the red ice, and you can essentially skip one of the rooms that you normally have to go to. But I just could not get it to work. It involves using bombs. It's not bomb hovering. It's more or less a damage boost that you get from getting hit by a bomb. But it just was not working for me, so I decided to go ahead and cut it. It wasn't really anything necessary to show, it was just me failing. If I would have gotten through, then sure, yes, I would have probably showed a couple failed attempts. But I couldn't even get it to work, period, so that is that. In general, I've been, like, really discouraged from going off of the main normal route because there are just certain glitches that I cannot do correctly, such as bomb hovering. And it's required to do dungeon skipping, so if I like wanted to go to the Shadow Temple, for example, I have to be able to bomb hover properly. Because it is required if you want to enter there early. Instead of waiting until you get the song that lets you warp there the normal way. At least I was able to get the Lens of Truth early, so I don't have to worry about getting it prior to approaching the Shadow Temple. So that will be good. And you actually aren't even required to get the Lens of Truth, but it helps tremendously to have it. Especially when you navigate some of the rooms that have hidden passageways and walls. Now, come to think of it, though, there are... And yeah, I was like, fuck, I failed there. I was so disappointed when I made that jump, and I was like, crap, I fell. Whoa, weird glitchiness. That was even, like, really a glitch. That was just graphical problems. There, I did it again, even. Wow. But anyway, like I said, you know, I just am so terrible at certain glitches that it discouraged me from trying to do the dungeons out of order. So I just stuck with the main route because that's the one I'm the most comfortable with. Even the ice cavern, I was just disappointed that I couldn't even like do the bomb damage boost glitch where I could like get through the red ice without having to melt it. And here I just went ahead and did a small cut to where I do open up the routes with the blue fire. And I'm glad I have 3 empty bottles because it definitely helps me out with having to go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth between different rooms. And normally I would skip this one room that I'm opening up right now, but there is a heart piece that is in here, so because I set the conditions that I would be getting all heart pieces, I have to come in here. And I don't feel like coming back here a second time if I can help it. So it's better that I get it right now. And there's also gold sculptulas that I do encounter along the way, which helps out as well. Because the more of them I can gather, the better. Because I want to be able to like get to the end of the main game and not have to worry about having to collect tons of gold sculptulas here and there. I have decided that I would be doing the Shadow Temple first and then the Spirit Temple. The main reason for this is because, number one, I love the Shadow Temple. It is probably my favorite dungeon of Ocarina of Time, as weird as it sounds, but I do love that dungeon a lot. And it also has the hover boots, which is a very, very useful item to have. Because there are actually certain glitches that you can do with the hover boots themselves that are unique to that item. If I would have been able to do dungeon skipping, I definitely have been able to show some certain glitches. Even the main one I can think of is the Forest Temple, because there is a lot of time saving if you have the hover boots there. But of course, you know, in normal circumstances you don't go to places like that with the hover boots as it is. So it's not a huge deal that I couldn't do it, but it just would have been cool if I would have been able to get them early. At least I'm able to enter the water temple without the use of the iron boots. So stick around for that if you'd like to see me do that. I'm not sure if it'll be shown in this video. This one's kind of long, so I'm probably going to be splitting it. But I do want to at least record the commentary, if I can. By the way, you don't have to push the platform around. There's like a block that you have to push around as a puzzle. You can actually just do ground jumps in this room, and you don't have to worry about moving that block at all. It is very useful to have the ground jump glitch be used here. And you didn't even really have to do a ground jump here. I think you can just like grab onto the block and roll over to this one. But I did a ground jump nonetheless because I just wanted to make sure that I got everything. And you do need blue fire for this one. Now, since this is an ice room, I do take hits from the bombs themselves. Sometimes I'm able to avoid getting hit, though. It seems like you slide around a lot, so you want to take a couple steps backward away from the bomb after you drop it when you do the ground jump glitch. Because if you do get damaged, you usually cannot perform the glitch because you got damaged in the process. This seems to have happened before on other occasions. I remember the Forest Temple was like this as well. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, I didn't pause to look at the map screen, but I think this is the only dungeon, well, rather, mini-dungeon, where I actually get all gold sculptulas. Surprisingly. They just happened to be on the path that I was going, so I figured I'd go ahead and grab them. And I don't know that I actually... Well, actually, no, I did know that I needed to get another blue fire here. The reason for it is because, like I said, there will be a glitch with King Zora that I'm doing, and I wanted to make sure I had enough blue fire to be able to thaw both him and the Zora shop, because if I decide to get an item later on that I need, I'm going to be able to have access to go into the Zora shop to be able to get that item. And that'll make more sense here pretty soon, once I get to King Zora. And I failed a couple times here with the ground jump, but I was kind of embarrassed, actually. But like I said there, whenever you get damaged, you usually don't do the glitch properly. because it won't let you do the ground jump. If you're able to swing the sword, then you know you didn't do the glitch correctly. Because if you activate the ground jump, the sword gets disabled until you do perform the glitch itself. Just a little tip on that. And apparently it's possible to do a mega flip over this red ice, but when I practiced off-screen, I could not get it to work. I tried different angles, I tried getting as close to the red ice as possible, but I just could not get over it. So I decided, instead of just wasting time practicing, I figured I'd just go ahead and get more blue fire. And I love how I defeated that white Wolfos in one hit. I don't even think I hit the tail, I think it was just a powered up crouch stab. Anyway, here are the iron boots. Super excited. Now, I do end up using them in the water temple on almost any playthrough I do of the water temple itself, but apparently it is possible to do without them, but I am still trying to figure out how exactly. Because I know there's a few places I can definitely get by without using them, but ultimately, from what I can tell, you need them at some point when you're doing that dungeon. Because there's a lot of times where you're constantly pausing, putting the boots on, pausing again, taking the boots off, etc, etc. Oh, and here's Sheik. I told you that this tranny would show up at some point. They teach us the Serenade of Water, which takes us straight to Lake Hylia, and right above the entrance to the water temple. Now, I could have easily just done it the normal way and entered the water temple, but I decided it'd be best to show a glitch that you can get in there without the use of the iron boots, because it's fun. I think it's fun, personally, anyway. So, we have learned that a childish mind will turn to noble ambition, young love becomes deep affection, and the clear water surface reflects growth in all of us. And you missed your chance, Link. I don't know exactly what he was going to do, but Sheik got away. And we had Ferrari's Wind active. It's not that big of a walk from that room, but it does save time if you use Ferrari's Wind there. So I figured I'd go ahead and do that. Yeah, I can definitely tell this video is getting very long. I was kind of hoping this would not have happened, but I don't want to post this and it be 40 minutes long, so I'm probably going to be cutting it here pretty... Well, I'll still keep recording, but I'll be cutting the video here around probably pretty direct after this hard piece, I'm thinking. I'll have to see when I go back to the recording. What else to talk about? I kind of mentioned everything I wanted to say. Oh, I think I did say this in an earlier video, but I'll go ahead and say it again. I did pre-order, it was actually a while back from now, but I pre-ordered Zelda Wind Waker HD for the Wii U. I am curious to see, obviously, when it comes to a 3D Zelda game, I'd like to see what do they do to change the glitches in them, because that is definitely what catches my interest in any new Zelda game.